You don't feel exhausted because you're weak. You feel exhausted because you keep trying to be impressive in environments that reward the opposite of how you think. And part of you knows this, but you still keep playing. That's the real problem. You're in a meeting, everyone's speaking quickly, confident, certain. You already see where the project will fail. You can feel the tension no one is naming. You start explaining, carefully, precisely, and halfway through, someone interrupts with a simpler take, louder, cleaner, applauded. You go quiet. Not because you were wrong, but because you realize depth doesn't win here. Speed does. And something inside you shuts down. Here's what's actually happening. Your mind doesn't think in fragments. It synthesizes. When you hear an idea, you don't just react to it, you map its consequences. You run long-term projections. You sense relational fallout. You check it against values. That takes time. Modern environments reward immediacy, not integration. So you're constantly forced to choose, respond fast and betray your process, or respond honestly and appear slow. Over time, you start mistrusting your own pacing. You internalize the idea that depth is inefficiency. That's the first fracture. But the real damage isn't cognitive, it's moral. You don't burn out from noise alone. You burn out from self-abandonment. Every time you laugh at something that feels off, every time you stay silent when you see the flaw, every time you compress a nuanced truth into something socially digestible, you chip away at internal coherence. And here's the paradox no one talks about. You pride yourself on empathy, but you rarely extend it to yourself. You will metabolize everyone else's discomfort to keep harmony intact. You will carry emotional tension that isn't yours. You will overperform in spaces that subtly drain you. Why? Because being the stable one became part of your identity. Being perceptive, being needed, being the one who sees. But if your value depends on absorbing dysfunction quietly, then exhaustion isn't a side effect. It's the system working perfectly. Here's the uncomfortable question. Are you actually tired from the world, or are you tired from trying to prove you can survive in the wrong rooms? You say society penalizes depth, and sometimes that's true, but look closer. You're still chasing approval from people who don't even measure what you measure. You're trying to win arguments in cultures built on optics. You're offering long-term vision to people addicted to short-term validation. That's not injustice, that's misalignment. And misalignment feels like failure when you refuse to change the scoreboard. You think the goal is to be understood everywhere. It isn't. The goal is to be precise about where you belong. Depth is not universally rewarded, it's selectively valuable. And if you don't curate your environments, you will slowly contort yourself to fit ones that were never built for you. That contortion is what you're calling burnout. Stop trying to optimize your performance. Start optimizing your placement. Instead of asking, how can I be more effective here? Ask, is this a room that even rewards what I naturally do? If the answer is no, conserve yourself. Withdraw strategically. Speak less in spaces that flatten nuance. Invest more in environments that expand it. You don't need thicker skin. You need stricter selection. That's not avoidance. That's calibration. You're not exhausted because you're fragile. You're exhausted because you've been loyal to the wrong arenas. You kept trying to win admiration in places that only reward speed, certainty, and surface, and you kept offering depth. Of course you're tired. Depth given to the wrong audience feels like depletion. Depth given to the right one feels like power. And once you stop performing in the wrong rooms, a harder question appears. If you're no longer proving yourself to everyone, who are you actually trying to become? That's where the real work starts.